At the request of our Women's Council, we wanted to invite some families to come and speak during the lunch hour today. And I just want to acknowledge them because they're the reason why we have the First Nations Family Advocate Office, and they're the reason why we're able to provide support to other families, because they've come forward with hardship and their struggles, and we were able to hear their stories and try to do our best to respond and help other families. And you know, in the time that 4.5 years that we've had the First Nations Family Advocate Office, we've seen miracles happen, and we've seen families work really, really hard and overcome really huge obstacles. And I watch some of our families sometimes, and I don't even know how they do it. The system makes things so difficult for them, and they get knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, and it goes on. And they have to climb so high just to get their children back. And even when they get their children back, it's not over. Last Christmas, you know, our office has always been about bringing our children home. And then when you bring the children home, you think the battle is over, but sometimes it's just begun, because our children have come home suffering from grief and loss, suffering from their experiences, and it's been very difficult. And our families have been really amazing. I've witnessed them do so many astounding things. I remember back in the summertime, there was a First Nations little boy who needed a blood transfusion, and he had a rare blood type. And 5 of our families from the First Nations Family Advocate Office who were fighting to get their own children home all made sure that they went down on a Saturday to get tested to see if they could help this other mother. And I've seen generosity among mothers helping each other, and just the struggles and the things that have been held against them. And, you know, we've seen addictions, and we've seen families climb out of meth addiction, climb out of poverty, and do their very, very best to overcome obstacles. Today we have a group of very special people, and they've done really, really amazing things. And so I would like to welcome to the stage, and they're just going to share a few minutes about their stories. But I'd first like to invite Sonia and Andrew to come and speak. And please acknowledge these families, because they've done really, really amazing work.
Hi, I'm Andrew Bushy, and this is Sonia Huntinghawk, and this Shayla. The first time we talked to advocacy or met them was at the women's hospital. We were there because Sonia was going into labor, and Shayla was ready to come out and meet the world, and we had CFS show up at the hospital and threatened to take her away because of the history that we had in the past. And we didn't know what to do, and we used to be drug addicts, and you know, when we found out that Sonia was pregnant, we stopped doing drugs because we wanted to make sure that we do everything right this time, because I had my first daughter taken away by CFS, and I was I was 100% honest with them. I knew I had a problem, and I told them that I understand why they're taking her, my first daughter, and I went through some programs for CFS to get her back, but there was just so much stress that they were putting on us, bringing our past into every conversation we had, telling us that, you know, like, that we're not good parents, and that broke us down. But when we knew Shayla was coming, we wanted to do everything right, so we had everything we needed, and we had a good home. And when CFS came and told us that they were going to take her, they didn't give us a reason. They just told her that we're here to apprehend her.
That morning, actually, they came the day after I had her, 7:30 in the morning, before anybody ever started work, and came into the my hospital room and said that, I said, "What are you doing here?" He looked at me and said, "We're apprehending her." I said, "No, you're not." And he's like, "Well, why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?" I said, "Because exactly this is why. I knew you were going to come and knew you were going to try and take her, and I didn't want that." So the whole time that I was pregnant, I got us a 2-bedroom place. I got us into program. I got us enrolled in school. So, and he's like, "Okay, well," okay, and then I said, "So there's no reason for you to be taking her." I said, "You guys can do blood tests, you can do whatever you want, but we've done everything. We have everything that we need for her, and you guys can't take her." They're like, "Well, it's not our choice on what happens. It's our supervisors." I said, "Okay, go ahead." And he's like, "I'm going to be coming back, and when I do, it's coming back for her." And I said, "Okay, whatever." So after he left, I called First Nations people and I said, told them what my story was, and they were down there within like 20 minutes. And then CFS came back. They had a whole meeting, then they kept throwing our past in our face, like Andrew said.
I made a video on Facebook because, like, I knew what they were gonna do. They were gonna throw everything that was 4 years ago in our faces. They didn't bring up anything that we've been doing in the meantime to make ourselves better. And that's basically what they do with us. Like, in the video I made that went on Facebook, I mentioned all the how would I say that, trans? Like, they made like a bunch of obstacles for us to get past, and they make it really hard for us. And they throw our past against in our faces. Like, they kept throwing my drug addiction in my face, not understanding what I went through, the programs I've done, the recovery I've done for myself to better myself, and for Sonia too. And instead, all they saw was that we're both drug addicts and that we're both not good parents, and that, you know, we can't look after our daughter. And when advocacy came at the hospital, when CFS came for a meeting to apprehend her, it felt good to have people at our back, at our corners, you know, like fighting for us instead of us doing it alone, because we never could have. They were trying to throw our past in our faces again at the hospital and try to break us down, and that's what they do to people like us. They break us down, they keep us down, and they expect us to crawl out of there and become perfect parents, to become perfect people after they tear us down and break us down and throw us back into the same areas that we've been to, where we fall down and we end up back into drugs, back into drinking. We end up doing bad things because we give up hope in ourselves, and we believe what people say about us. Like, they tell us we're not good. They tell us we're going to be nothing but drug addicts for the rest of our lives.
And then we start believing them.
And then we slowly start believing that because there's no one else at our corners giving us hope, saying, no, you know what, you guys can do it, you guys can make it. And when we had meetings with Children Advocacy, they had these programs that we attended all the time, and they were great. Like they connected us with other people in our situation, and it felt good. Like we didn't feel alone anymore. And now today we're both finishing our schooling again.
We're both in school. And, we're hopefully going to be graduating in June. Shayla has no open case file with CFS whatsoever. So we're still doing programs though. So they have nothing, no excuse whatsoever to hold over us. Shayla's basically brought us to where we are now. Like, if I think about doing anything bad, I think about her. I think about not being able to hold her or not being able to have her if they do decide to take her away from us. So she's basically keeping us from all the bad. And I'm glad I had her.
One of the most devastating things that happens in our office is when these new babies are taken from the hospital. It still happens, but we have moments like Sonia and Andrew's story where in the midst of all of the bad things, you see these moments where, you know, there's miracles happening and good work being done by our families. Next, I would like to invite Crystal Bird to come and share with you for a moment.
Okay, my name is Crystal Bird. I'm a single mother of 6, ages 18 through 5 years old. 4 of them are my sons and 2 of them are my granddaughters. I raised them all. I have an older daughter, but right now she's finding herself. She's 27. She's already an adult. My granddaughters got taken away from me because I was on a drug called Dilantin. It messes with, it's supposed to be for seizures. And it helped, I guess, helped me have a nervous breakdown because that was one of the side effects. And after I got cleared from it, and by this time, the Dilantin caused me to have a breakdown, and CFS apprehended my granddaughters. They didn't apprehend my sons, they just took my granddaughters. And at the time I was wondering what was going on because my brain was slowly getting poisoned, but it still didn't leave me to stop living because I knew I had my children to live for, especially my sons, and I knew I was going to have a fight for my granddaughters, and I wasn't afraid of it because I have a lot of determination, my will is strong, and I'm not afraid. So they took my granddaughters away. I was shocked, you know, I was devastated. I was trying to tell them that it was the Dilantin, and that my neurologist had given me a letter stating that it was the drug that did that, and still, they took them away, and they wouldn't even let me visit them. And yet, I did not harm anybody. I didn't get violent, or I didn't, try to be vindictive or anything like that, but my fight started right after my granddaughters. I knew that our family wasn't whole, because this is what I taught my children, is to be whole and one. I gave up a lot for my kids. I gave up a lot, and I've been raising them on my own for 11 years. Just because I'm in a wheelchair, I used to tell them, I'm not like, any different from any other mom. And they always said, hey, Mom, you might go faster than everybody, but that's okay, Like, so I've written down like a big speech, my story, but my truth should be coming from my heart. So I knew I had a big fight against me already, and I knew I was ready. So after my granddaughters got taken away, especially after when they took my visiting rights away, because the last visit I had with them, they wanted to come home. And it broke my heart, because I told them, my girls, I can't bring you home. If I could, I'm going to, and I'll prove it. I said to myself, I'm going to do this, because I know in my heart, any mother, father, I guess, but I'm a single mom, so I only know what a mother would do, and that is to fight for the ones you love the most, especially a grandmother. And that gave me more strength, knowing this. A lot happened to me when I was up in my community. A lot. The family that was taking care of my granddaughters was the largest one there. And they did every little dirty trick that they can do so that I couldn't see my granddaughters. They went as far as taking my health services away. For 8 months, they took it away from me. And the director was the foster parents' auntie. They took it away because of that, and tried to say that I was trying to kill the foster parents' mom, but it was in the middle of winter. She lived a mile away. I don't know how I could have plowed through the snow to go and do this. But you know what? When the cops came to my door, I told them my truth, and then next thing you know, when I was trying to get a ride to on the van, the medical van, that's when I was informed my services were taken. I didn't get no written writing, no verbal, nothing. And still, they wouldn't reinstate me with my services. So finally, I kept coming back and forth to Winnipeg, and each time I came back to Winnipeg, and at the time I wasn't living out here, I thought to myself, you know what, if I can't go above, I tried even like the main offices, the head offices of CFSs to try help me out, but something was telling me, okay, you have to go further above. So what I did, I would wait outside and stalk Arlen Dumas. No, but really, I would wait for him outside. I tried even getting an appointment, but you know what? Despite all that, one day my daughter came home. It was in the summer. I remember that so clearly, and I just happened to have an appointment with a lawyer that time. And you know, it seemed like everything just happened to fall into place, is because my daughter went to the Family Advocates First Nations orientation, because I went to one in May, and you know, I was still trying to meet with them too, but I was still trying to figure out how am I going to win my granddaughters back. So we came to the appointment, my daughter went to the orientation, and I went to see the lawyer. And by this time, I was already planning to wheel from my community to Black River. I mean, my community and to Winnipeg. Okay, I was so very angry, but I turned that anger around because I knew I had to fight. I knew I had that will. So finally, we missed each other on the street, me and my daughter. And then from there, I already had my papers for my protest. I had papers from my lawyer. And just as I was going upstairs to go see if she was ready, she wasn't there, so I decided to go down. And lo and behold, who do I see? I seen Arlen Dumas. So I started yelling, hey, I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you. And, you know, it was kind of complex at the time, so it seemed like they were going to try block me, but then I started yelling, I lost my granddaughters in CFS, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't even go out, I take care of my kids. And I said that to him because I knew that was my truth. I wanted my truth to set me free. And you know what? We were talking, he sat there and listened. He listened, he just didn't go push me aside. Once I finally I got him. You know, that day, when I think about it, after I started talking to him, that's when I saw Cora Morgan. You know, when I saw these two people, I thought to myself, I hope I'm saved and I could save my granddaughters, because they were my life. They're my life, my granddaughters and my children. They keep me going. So, started talking to Cora. And when I was speaking to her, I thought to myself, I hope I'm heard. And then I got a hold of Kendra Illis. I thought to myself, it's finally happening. It's finally happening. And I even told them that they took my health services away because they were trying to destroy me, to make me weak. But I wasn't gonna act like a wounded, I was gonna show my weakness. If I show my weakness, then they win. So after I talked to Cora, we set up a meeting in my community, and we ended up with the health director there and CFS, just to see why everything happened to me over there and why it happened, because they wanted that foster home to keep the kids. That was the only reason. The only reason. And you know what? My granddaughters weren't even allowed to talk to my sons even at school. They would get in trouble. They tell us stories about it now, but after Kendra, they came down to my community and we sat there and I said, well, I'm here for my truth and here to be heard. A week later, I got my granddaughters back. It took only a week. I thought to myself, I could have done this a long time ago, but I was so thankful it happened that day. You know, if I had to fight for them all over again, I would probably do it. It's because I'm an Ojibwe woman. I'm not afraid, I'm a warrior, and I'm a survivor. My story doesn't end there, though. Okay, after I got my granddaughters back, the whole family, okay, I got jumped. I was assaulted, visually assaulted, and I couldn't even press charges on them because they covered it up. I could not fight that fight. And while they were beating me, all I could hear is, why did you take them? Why did you take them? And I kept saying, they're mine, they're my granddaughters, they're my kids. Because I raised one of them. So finally, I had one person's phone number left, and that was Kendra. And I told her what was happening. And then she said, well, if you can get to Winnipeg, come to Winnipeg. And I told her I will. So then after I got out, I was still having problems. My head was hurting so badly. You know, I was slurring still. I must look like a drunk or a drug addict or something, but I knew in my heart I had to tell the truth, that it was my assault that made me this way. So then after that happened, I never had so much support in all of my life living back in my community than I have here. And I have these ladies to thank. Cora, Kendra, Tina, even when Stephanie was working here. These women, these workers, they put it all out there. And without them, you know, a lot of stuff that happened while we were out here, I never had help like that. They helped me with a lot of mediations, you know, with a lot of positive things that I never knew existed until I came out here. And the honor in all this is that they do bring our children home. They are the heroes here. You guys should give them a hand for that. They're the true heroes. They help us walk. They help us and guide us. Don't forget that. Without them, like with the first couple that came up here, they spoke in truth. Hear my truth now. Miigwech.
We invited families here, and I know that we're going to put the agenda off a little bit, but they made it here and they have important stories to be told, so please be patient. It's going to happen.
That's all good.
Right now, we have just a couple more. I want to welcome Shaylee Monkman.
Right here. Okay. Hi, I'm Shaylee Monkman. I'm a little nervous right now, so don't mind me. My my experience with the office at First Nations Family Advocate. I started going there because I was in a very abusive relationship with my son's father, and we had an incident, and then that's when CFS came along, and they were trying to apprehend my son, but he wasn't in danger. So me being a young mother, first time, I decided to seek out supports because I wanted to keep my son with me. I didn't want to be separated. So I went to the office, and then they had all these amazing programs that I attended. I attended Red Road to Healing, the family support group, traditional parenting, and it really helped me. And at the time too, I was going through postpartum depression, so I made friends while I was there. I had support people. I felt safe. Me and my son had a safe place to go to every other day. And whenever we needed help regarding with CFS or just anything else, they were right there for us, which I'm grateful for every day. And then I ended up getting pregnant with my second child, and I was worried because I already had an open CFS file, so I was scared they might try to apprehend my second baby. So as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I made a plan with the advocate workers in case something happens. But I had a lot of support at home. My babies had everything ready for them, so I didn't see no reason for them to take her, but I was still worried because you always hear these stories of them taking your baby right at the hospital and whatever, you know. But so I kept going to programs for a year, and then they helped me close my file, which was good because I didn't need it open. Me and my son were fine. We were safe. We had a home. I didn't do drugs. I don't drink. I'm sober. And then I had my baby, my little girl, and then they said the worker was gonna come, and I got scared, so I called one of the advocate workers from the office, and I asked her if she can come because I didn't want to leave without my baby. So she came like the next 10 minutes, and that gave me some relief, and she stayed with me right until I walked out all the way to my dad's car, and that gave me some relief, yeah, because I'm a good mother and I did what I had to do, and I did all the programs. I still going back even though I have no file open because it's something to do, and it doesn't give them an excuse to say I'm an unfit mother or anything. And I think if it wasn't for this office and their wonderful workers, I don't think I would have my kids right now. So I try, I have friends that are dealing with CFS, and I always refer them to the office because they help me so much, and my kids. So I try to get my friends help too so they don't get separated. And yeah, I'm grateful. I think that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call Cheryl Michaud to the stage, and we are almost through our parent presentations. What happened yesterday is our Women's Council thought it was very important that we hear from some of the families. And on the short notice, we thought, well, we'll call a bunch of them in hopes that 3 or 4 of them showed up. And would you believe everyone we called came today? So And so we have Cheryl here now.
Here's some water. If you need it.
Good. Hi, my name is Cheryl Michaud. I'm a grandmother, and I'm kind of nervous. I look after my grandson since he was born, but we had my daughter was involved with Child and Family for my reserve in Broken Head. So I had a meeting with Child Advocacy to meet in Broken Head with CFS. And we had a case plan for my daughter, that the baby wouldn't be taken away. But when she did have the baby, Child Advocacy helped us for the baby not to be taken away. CFS came there. They were trying to put him under apprehension, and I talked to them. They came around when just my daughter was there. Anchor came, tried to get her to sign papers to put him under Winnipeg CFS, but the Child Advocacy helped us so much to, take the baby home. And if it wasn't for Kendra, I probably wouldn't even have my grandson. He's a year now, and he's doing good, and I'm glad Child Advocacy helped us. So, yeah, and I do attend their programs, which they're awesome. I recommend everybody that's involved with Child and Family to go to the meeting programs. Yeah, and I don't know, kind of nervous, and that's all I have to say. I'm glad Child Advocacy helped me.
Okay, so we got another one. All right, buckle in.
Quit trying to shut me out here. We have our final speaker. He asked to go last. His name is Chris Patrick, and he's one of our longtime clients. And, in the work that we do, we always try to do fundraising for our families. So I know all of you have probably seen those t-shirts that we have for sale. But that's one of our fundraising initiatives of the office. And when there's an event and an opportunity to sell t-shirts, we hire some of our parents to come in and make those t-shirts. So that way they have a little bit of extra spending money. And then when we sell those t-shirts, the proceeds go towards Christmas for our families. And Chris, who's going to be joining us right now, he's one of those people who makes our t-shirts. But he also has been here helping with the conference. We've hired him to help us load everything up and do a lot of the work that made everything possible here. So he came all weekend. He came on Sunday. His little daughter Natalie came, and she helped, and she was carrying boxes and pushing carts and just wanting to be helpful. And I never was a believer in social media, but to do this job, I felt that I had to, because a lot of times our family, it was the only way to reach out. But I take a lot of comfort in our family's stories because I see them on Facebook. And so Chris probably doesn't know it, but, I pay attention. And he takes his daughter everywhere, and I see their adventures all the time. And today, she's wearing a little ribbon skirt, and her dad made that for her at our office. And so our final speaker here is Chris Patrick, and he'll just share for a couple minutes. Miigwech.
Okay, come here. Stand up. You want to stand up? Say hi. Hi, my name is Chris Patrick. I've been involved with the Advocate Office for almost 3 years now because I was in jail when my daughter was born. And when I got out of jail, they said I was a violent person. I picked up an assault charge, and I spent 4 months in Headingley, and they basically had me labeled as if I was a killer or something. So they said that I couldn't have any visits, one visit a week for 2 hours. And that happened for almost 2 years. And then as soon as I got involved with the office, advocate office, we got yelled at by the supervisor of the CFS office, me and my worker, and, well, they're not supposed to act like that anyways. But ever since then, you know, my visits got even shorter and shorter, once a month. And then I had to fight to get my second visit. And then my daughter got apprehended again, this time with the mother as well again. She was involved with pills. And they want to give my daughter back to her, and I spoke up and told them, no, it's wrong, don't do it. I completed all my programming and took even more programs. Completed whatever I had to do, like probation, and what else did I do? I did everything. I got my own house, you know, I got my own, I'm a full-time construction worker right now still too. I'm a single father. Yeah, I'm a single father with full custody of my daughter, with my own place, and my CFS file is closed. And with all the help from the First Nation Family Advocate Office, it's basically made this all possible for me. And I continue going there like maybe once, twice, 3 times a week, just drop in just to get help with, you know, resources, because I'm a single father and there needs to be more resources out there for, you know, single fathers. So they help me out with a lot, and they continue to help me, and I continue to move forward with everything. So, all in all, the agency, First Nation Family Advocate, they help out with everything, and they make everything possible, like what they did with me today. And, you know, I'm never going to give my daughter up. That's it. Thank you. Say thanks. Say thank you. Say hi.